Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. Today we are joined by my good friend from Down Under, Geoff Blanchard. And we also have with us Harold Muliati. He's running the video switcher and he'll be co-hosting with us as well. Tech Down Over begins now. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com, your training and video partner. And we're back.
We are back.
Hey, Geoff, how you doing?
Good, thank you, Rick. And what's been happening this week? Has there been a lot happening in the tech world? I haven't seen a lot happening.
I don't know. I don't know. Between you and me talking about mics and mixers and everything else, I haven't been paying that much attention to tech, though I'm sure there's some new cameras and video stuff out. Well, we've been selling a lot of the gear. We just sold the XF405. We sold the XF400. They both went on eBay, and we still have two of the XA35s that if they don't sell, I think I'm probably just going to keep them as backups. I like them. They're pretty good.
They're good cameras.
And that XT2 we have, and that still hasn't sold, which we're surprised nobody cares about the Fuji anymore, I guess.
That's funny. That XT2 was really hitting a bit for a little bit, and then it just disappeared, and everybody stopped about it. And now
and you have an XT3 now, but I don't know how popular it is. They're not that good. I'm sorry if anybody's watching who loves Fuji. They're wonderful. But the reality is, you gotta like them. If you don't like them, they're not that good. I didn't like it. I don't like the controls. The focus wasn't all that great. It was okay. I mean, for pictures, it was okay. Movie, I didn't care for that much. I just didn't like the ergonomics at all. I didn't care for it. And the lenses were nice. They're pretty fast. Some of them seem a little old-fashioned, but on the whole, they were pretty fast. And I don't know. People adore their Fujis. I wasn't one of them.
But there's just so many cameras out there these days. It's just, I suppose there's a camera for everybody, but there's one Fuji, one likes a Canon, one likes a Sony. Now, Rick, did I hear somewhere that you're going back into Sony? You sort of went Sony.
Well, okay. I think when we got into Sony, it was more rushed because we had to spend money. It was one of those we had to spend money for tax season. And that we're not doing that this year. We said, screw it. This is ridiculous. Because when you're rushing to buy something, you make mistakes. And it's not that we made a mistake, but it was a non-committed purchase. And when we got it, we liked them, but we weren't crazy about them. I don't know, Harold, did you like them a lot?
I mean, they're really good at what they do, but I don't know that they really suited our purposes, at least at the time.
At the time, yeah.
They're really great at photo, but I still think that the ones we have for video, we've been using Canon camcorders, and also we have the GH5, we've got the GH5S, we've got the G9, and those are, they really excel at video, and they do a great job at photos too. And there's also the thing of having it's another lens system, and you have the adapters, but yeah,
they're okay. But they do shoot good video, and the focus on the Sony is nobody even comes close anymore. Canon is not as good as Sony on focus, even with dual pixel autofocus. What I'm noticing with Canon, all dual pixel autofocus is not created equal. You've seen that, Harold. They're not working that well on all the different cameras, and so something is definitely rotten in Denmark with Canon. So, but we're not sure what. They're having problems. But I like. I've been really considering getting that in the future, getting that Panasonic S1H, the hybrid camera, but primarily for video. It looks like a damn good camera. But again, it's $4,500, and like one guy said, you could buy a C200 for $1,000 more. And I went, And his comment was the C200 will probably shoot as well or better.
And honestly, I still wonder if, for the kind of stuff we do, will we really see that much of a difference compared to, say, the GH5S, which is, that's a killer video camera there,
Yeah,
too.
maybe not.
No. But it's strange. So all these different cameras, like whether there was like with the GH5 and all that, as opposed to a video camera, was somebody using a GH5, and one of the requirements was to be zoomed in on a person, and then to zoom out to reveal something. That's one thing they can't do very nicely.
Right.
You have to manually do it, but with a video camera, that's the only time, when you never use a zoom, but when you need it, that's what's great with the video camera. You can use a zoom and smoothly zoom out without having to buy a little machine that does the zooming on the camera lens.
Now, there was one cool thing about one of the Sony lenses we had. It was a zoom lens. I think it was like a 24 to 105 or something. It had a zoom rocker on the lens. That was such a cool lens. It was very sharp, very clean, very, very quiet. So you could zoom in. It's just like a camcorder zoom rocker, but so you held the camera with the other hand. You just kind of moved just a little bit, and it zoomed so smooth and so quietly. That to me was clever, and I'm surprised more people haven't put zooms on the lenses. That's the only one I ever seen with it.
Yeah, but what I suggest that person, and I think what I said, hey, just do it in 4K, and I said start off with that, just do it in post, so have the full scene anyway, and start off and reveal it that way. That would be the best way, because nobody will notice it for most of the things when you're coming out. So do an electronic zoom. No,
Geoff, I sent you a note this week. I think you saw it. You and I both had the XA10. You still have it. You didn't have to worry about focus with that.
No, it's still here. I always have it. It's handy there. Just switch it on, turn it on, and away it goes. So.
And do you ever really worry if you're focused or not? No, it just seems to always work, right?
Yeah, and that was before I even was worrying about dual pixel autofocus.
That's right. It didn't exist then.
It didn't exist, but what is this one got? But it just seems to focus. So.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're doing contrast. I don't think it's contrast only. I wonder if they are doing phase detect. I'm not sure. They don't talk about it. But that XA10, you just set it, you press go, and nothing ever gets out of focus. And some of the older Canon camcorders, same way. Once you focused, it just stayed in focus forever. Now, with dual pixel and other stuff, everything has to be set. You've got to make sure. Nothing's guaranteed. So I don't know. I sometimes think we've gone backwards.
Yeah, but it's like that with a lot of things with the cameras. There's things that you used to do years ago, and you think, hang on, why can't I do it? Like the thing is with the, what's that, when I haven't forgot what it is. When you're going along and then all the things bend. What's that called again? I forget now.
What?
When you straight lines, you're bending. What's that called again?
Geometric distortion?
Yeah.
We can't see. We're good tech show. We can't even remember the things. If you move your camera quick and everything looks like
rolling shutter.
Rolling shutter. That's right.
Rolling shutter. Yeah.
Rolling shutter. Every camera now that you move goes rolling shutter. Go back to my first old CCD.
They didn't have it.
And now to improve it, you've got worse things on that. So
I still like CCDs. They just don't put them on any cameras anymore. Although now we are starting to see. I don't remember which cameras specifically are using it, but we are starting to see global shutter CMOS sensors. Yeah.
And that's what but everybody talks about rolling shutter, but very rarely everybody says that word global shutter.
Right. Yeah. Well, also the thing with rolling shutter is how often are you going to go with your camera?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not.
But the one thing I notice that I do miss, if I'm filming out of a car, like I did one going down, you're filming out of a car, going across, and all the trees are leaning to the side, and all the road signs are...
Right.
Yeah.
Everything, all the yards, they're all leaning, so because it's not wobbling, but the world's on an angle, so you can't go outside of a car window.
No, that only happens in Australia,
That's right. It must be weird.
It's because of you're upside down. It's just what happens.
There's the other the sort of category of photography that, from what I understand, tends to suffer from the rolling shutter is people out like to take photos of airplanes because like there's this picture, for example, where you have the airplane propeller and it looks like there's 30 propellers and they're not even attached to the plane just because the peculiarities of the rolling shutter. And you tend to get stuff like bendy looking rotors on helicopters and that sort of thing.
Of course, nowadays with all the security, if you have a camera in one of those areas, they'll shoot you. So
yeah.
What are you doing, son? Taking a picture of the plane coming in? Last picture you'll ever take.
That's only if you do it with a camera. If you've got 50 iPhones or
that's
Samsung,
okay. Yeah, iPhones are fine.
Yeah, and then phone cameras tend to get even worse rolling shutter.
But the thing is that terrorists only use normal cameras. They don't use phone cameras to take pictures.
Right. That's true.
So,
yep.
You know, terrorists only use camcorders. That's what they shoot all the ransom videos and stuff with, right?
It's like everywhere when the security and that, you know, the people they always pick up, they look like a terrorist. Yeah, well, the terrorists are not going to look like a terrorist. No. They look like a nice businessman all dressed up. They're disguised.
You know, people forget this, but did you ever watch Airplane, the original movie?
Oh, yes.
Now, remember, there's an old lady who goes through the security device, and they just start punching her out and beating her up.
Yes.
No. Then the 4 terrorist guys walk in with machine guns in hands, and they just go, "Hello, have a good flight." Nothing. That's kind of what it is.
Rick, have you seen the proper film for Airplane?
No.
Have you? It's made from a real film in 1956 called 0 Hour, and you watch it. It's pretty much. It's pretty much the series film with a few things thrown in, but it's the same names in there. But you've just got
really 0 Hour.
Yes,
really?
It's so funny. It says it's all the same. You know, I haven't been flying since the war, and it's a normal one. And that's why in Aeroplane, you know, when the jet plane's got this like, propeller noise, because the noise from the original film going.
How funny!
It was back in the 50s or something. So 0 Hour.
Interesting. I never heard of that 0 Hour. I'm gonna check it out. That sounds fun.
On YouTube, they do a comparison to show you the 0 Hour scene, and then to show you the the airplane scene.
There's so little new stuff in videos and TV and it's all the same, just rehashed.
But that was very clever that they took an old film and said, "Oh, what a great comedy!" But it was back then. Oh, gee, this is a good film. You just see how much we've changed it now.
Yeah, 0 Hour.
0 Hour. You've got to watch that. It's
that's pretty good. Well, you know, before I came into the show, I glanced at Facebook and I saw your note, and you were saying how much you just love your mics and your mixer, and you know, it's funny. I do too, and I was watching Booth Junkie, Mike Del Gaudio, and he had one that was great. I was watching, it was an older one, I think, and he's sitting going, "I'm just here in my booth with my mics. Oh man, I'm just so happy in here. I just love my mic. I just love it. I love being in here." And I go, I know how he feels.
Well, that's why I enjoy watching Mike, because you just enjoy watching him, and I'm interested in nearly everything he says.
He's going to be on, you know.
Oh, great!
Very soon he'll be on. He was out of. I think he was on vacation or something, out of town, but maybe before end of month he'll be on, or in October.
Oh, that's great, because he's just so good with what he says, and in the city, you can just see that he just loves what he's doing.
Yep.
And the mics, and he's so fortunate that people just send him mics to have. And I was, so that would be great. Just they send him a mic and he can play with that. So
yeah, it's fun. And he does great reviews, and I'm amazed sometimes when you hear mic 1 and mic 2, there's not much difference. And other times you can tell the difference. But when he did a Neumann TLM 103 with something else,
it was the AKG Perception 100.
Is that it?
He got it used for like $50, and he was testing it against the TLM 103.
And there were no difference. It's like, wow.
Yeah, we'll link that video below.
Yeah. Didn't you also did he do a Shure with that one? He did something else with that one. And I was going, wow.
I don't remember which other one he did with that.
He's done a few with the Neumann, I think. So
He did a Neumann. I thought it was the Shure KSM 32, which is about $500. And I'm going, I can't tell. I'm watching the thing change, and it's not registering the ears. I go, man, it's the same. Wow. So yeah, he does a great job. I like him, and he sounds like just a really funny, good guy.
But the thing is with mics as well, as though people might get a lot more difference when they're in an untreated room. Some mics do a better job. So, oh, that sounds much better. But when you get a proper treated room, where it's going to be it's very hard to pick a difference with a lot of them. Whereas some say, oh, in untreated room, that one works better than this one. And it does make a big in noise and that. Like,
and I know the Neumanns pick up a lot of noise. They're very sensitive.
Well, he had actually one of his videos where he was comparing that $50 AKG to the 103. He was doing his unfair comparison where he was in his properly treated booth with the $50 AKG, and then he had his Neumann TLM 103, and he was like in front of his running washing machine, or he was like in an electrical room and that sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's just amazing how you just said, because they all do the same job, but why do we pay sometimes so much more money for that? But then again, it's like our automobiles. Yes, they've all got four wheels and they go from A to B, but it's just, they might do the same, but it's the quality of the build sometimes we like. We like all of them, and we just like even mics, the way how they, like this one, how it sits there. Some of them sit too big, you can't read your copy, or do something like that. Just too awkward. They might do the same sound, but they wouldn't sell anything if they all sounded the same. It'd just be one.
No. and like he said, and I agree with him, when you get past $1,000, you're looking at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 mics, and when you hear them, they're not that much better. They're frankly. Oh, what really gets me is when you see a $3,000 mic and some rapper is singing, if you want to call it singing, is talking on it, going like, oh man, and it sounds like crap. And you just go, why would that guy sound good on any mic? And you put him on a 3,000, that's still crappy music. Sorry, if you like rap, that's your problem. I don't like it. It's crappy. They forgot the C in front of it. But anyway, it just sounds lousy. So if I never hear like an opera singer or somebody who can really sing on a mic, it'd be great to hear how they do the high notes and the low notes and but they put these almost worthless singers who can't sing worth beans that will never really make it anywhere. Sorry, I'm not saying you're no good. I'm just saying that you could be better. And they put them on a mic, and that doesn't make the mic sound good.
And I think that's one. Have you seen the Rode demo DVD? Rode have it, and they have this woman singing so nice into all the microphones.
Yeah,
that does a wonderful job. It's so different, isn't it, when you have somebody just a nice clear sounding voice by themselves with no music, and you can just hear the difference. Like, I was quite surprised when I'm looking at those Neumanns and looking at the Rode NT1A that I've got there, and the NT1A is a quieter microphone than the Neumann. It says less mic noise than the Neumann. So quite incredible. But it's
now you know which mic. And I know Delgadio talks about this, and I've heard others. I never had this one. It's the NT1. Not the 1A, but the NT1 actually has a really nice sound. Yeah, very different from the NT1A.
It's got a comparison out on the NT1 and the NT1A.
I haven't seen that one. Okay.
There is one. We've got the NT1, because the NT1 has that metal pop filter in front of it instead of the cloth one, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, how did it sound? Did you hear that one?
I can't remember. I have listened to it, but I can't remember what I thought about it, because
I think the NT1 is a little more bassy, whereas the NT1A is really actually more bright.
And the NT1's a dearer one, isn't it? I think that's a.
It's a what?
Yeah, I think it's dearer, the NT1.
A little bit more, not by much, but a little bit more. What, Harold?
But it does.
By about how much? Well.
It wasn't much more, maybe $50 or $100.
Oh, okay.
But it looks funky. It's a black totally black microphone.
It look kind of cool, but yeah, it is different.
Yeah, but it just looked really, really nice and different as well. So, but let's face it, people are not looking at them, don't care how they look.
No,
it's just sound on them. But I wouldn't mind if this said I'm doing a lot of recording in this room here, but I would love to watching Mike's channel with his sound room. I'd love to get a room and do it properly. But then I just think, do I need it though? Would I get the use out of it? But
if you're doing professional work and you're doing a lot of it, maybe. But you can also do a lot just by putting up fiberglass and whatever else you want, and it can make it just as good. I don't like the booths because to me they're very claustrophobic. You know, he has a big one. I think he made his like a stand-up one. But it can get pretty tight in there, and you need a good circulation because there's no air coming in. You have a fan or something to bring air in. So you have to like it. Not everybody can work in a booth. I don't feel I need it. I've got pretty good treatment in the rooms, but it doesn't hurt. That's for sure.
But it all depends what you're doing. If you're doing it for working jobs, well, are they accepting your recordings?
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. They say, oh no, that's no good. That's the big difference. The thing is, I find when the proper treated booth, it just sounds so much better with the microphones on there. You don't have to worry so much about anything else.
Right.
That's why if you're doing it professionally, it's well worth it. And if you watch Mike's channel as well, it's quite interesting watching. He moved house and he was building a new booth.
Yeah.
Seen from the beginning, how he does it. So that was quite interesting over the months how he did that. So, but like you said, it's like here. I've got a little room where I can go into, like a closet type thing I've done, but at least go in there for 15 minutes because it gets quite warm in the middle of winter.
Right.
It's over 100 degrees, and then you can't have all the air conditioning zoom because that makes too much noise. But down in here, I can have the air conditioning on. It keeps it cool without too much noise, and most of the software out there does get rid of a lot of the noise. Now, I've been also looking at an audio program, and he's quite interested in Reaper. I don't know if you've heard of Reaper.
I looked at it. I was looking at a little bit more closely what he was doing with it. I don't think it's as good as Audition. Well, okay, it's different from Audition. I found the terminology Reaper uses a little more technical. I didn't like the compressor that they had. I didn't really care for that much. I don't know if I would go with Reaper. There's other options. Even Logic Pro on a Mac is pretty good.
One thing I really like though with it that I don't think any of the others do have. It's like the video editor. When you cut and paste a bit of sound or a video in it, and if you decide, oh no, I didn't want that, you just drag the ends out, and it's got that one underneath. It's non-destructive.
Right. Yep.
Whereas you delete something, it's deleted, and if you go back to it, it's gone. Whereas in Reaper, you've got the original. You can, and then you render it out, so you've got all your original files. So no matter what you've done, you can still go back to it. So it records all your files. So each time you press record, it doesn't just add on to that file; it records a separate file.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, maybe I'll take a look at it. I'm going to download the trial and just play with it a little bit. But no, it runs on Mac and Windows. It runs on both. Now, you've never tried Logic? Logic Pro?
No, I haven't.
It's not bad. You may want to try a trial on it. That's on Mac only.
But what I said, after using Audition for so many years, it makes Reaper very hard to handle.
Right.
But it's just not really that. It's just that you've convinced yourself that that's the Adobe way is easy. Like Windows, you do a lot of these. Like I went to my core keyboard, and it's so hard to do things. But I thought, well, it's not really. It's just we're all in the Microsoft way. We all know you close this, you do this to add this, but not everybody does it that way. And when you change, you think, oh, you've got a big learning curve to get around
habitual. Yeah. Hey, by the way, did you know you've seen the Microsoft Surface? The 13-inch tablet. It's a very nice tablet, very well built, very expensive. Did you know, I just found out, that there's a Microsoft Surface 2 Studio, a 28-inch tablet, if you will, that's portable. And now there's in fact, I think there it is right there. And there's a Chinese company called Sefree, which is coming out with a thing called Apollo, which is 32 inches with a portable dock, and that's technically transportable, and it's half the price. That Surface you saw before was $4,200. That's i7 $4,200, not fully loaded either.
Yeah, it's got an i7, it's got a 1060. I think they give you 32 gigs RAM. So it's, for $4,200, it's a pretty expensive machine for if you're looking at the specs and capabilities.
Yeah, and this other one is from 1,600 to about 2,400, and it has pretty much the same or better specs, which is sort of interesting. It's not out yet. It's currently in some sort of Kickstarter. But it looks pretty cool. I saw it on Lisa's Mobile Tech Review. She does a lot of good tech reviews, and yesterday she was talking about it. I went, oh, how interesting. I totally missed the fact that the Surface Studio came out. Leslie has a Surface Studio 3, and it's really quite nice. It's a very nice notebook.
Well, she has just the Surface 3, right?
Just the Surface 3.
Yeah, because there is going to be a Surface Studio 3. They've announced it, I think, but I don't know I'm not sure when it's coming out.
But those are very dear premium at $4,200. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and I think the Surface Studio.
What? Geoff?
I said that to sound like the prices of the iMacs, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't think that was an iMac-worthy competitor. Maybe it is. I don't know. 28 inches. The video card is less. It's a 1060. Well, of course, a lot of Macs are using AMDs now, which I don't know. Some people love AMDs. I still think the NVIDIAs are better, but it depends what you're doing with it. And the Macs still aren't. The iMacs are still not real gaming machines. They're just not built for it. The OS isn't built really to be a gaming machine. Somehow Windows does games better, but not everybody plays games either. So it's interesting. But $4,200 for that Surface, that's expensive.
Yeah, and I guess the company Sefree, the one that's making this Apollo here. I mean, I don't think they've really made computers before. From what I could find, what they've done before that mainly is fitness bands, like the tracking bands that hook up to your phone and all that.
Interesting.
They have a few of those out, but other than that, it doesn't seem like they've really made anything else.
Maybe this big one has a strap that you can strap it to your back.
Yeah.
And it monitors your heart.
Or maybe if you got a really big wrist, like your Popeye or something.
Yeah, and put your big 32-inch monitor on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But amazing how much it looks like the Microsoft one, though, isn't it? So,
it is. Yeah, they're going right after it.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh no, we did. We came up with a totally unique design."
Yes.
Including the same angle.
We borrowed it from maybe they're like Russians. They copy everything they see. I mean,
I almost wonder if they just got a picture of the Surface Studio to use as the picture for this.
Maybe they stretch it out.
It's going to be about like this.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Yeah, mess around with research and development to do a prototype, but just take a photo of somebody else.
Yep.
Wow. And wait until we get the money, then we can produce it. So.
That could be what they did. You never know on some of these Kickstarters. So,
that's a lot of people see these Kickstarters and think they're actual products.
They're not. Yeah. And the big problem with that is if you buy it, what if something breaks? Who repairs it?
Well, you buy when you pay for them on that. You buy them as it's an experiment. Mm-hmm. You could get a pile of rubbish, but that's the whole idea of Kickstarter. Right. It's fine but people seem to think it's a shop. I'll put my pre-order in for it. Well, it's not. It's just a gamble that you're investing in a company.
Right.
And sometimes turn out good things, and a lot of times turn up.
And a lot of times we were talking earlier about the percentage of failures of how many actually make it. We're not sure, but I don't think it's that high, the ones that make it.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of examples of Kickstarters, a lot of people buying into them and the company basically just failing and not being able to deliver because, well, they're gone.
Yeah, and people say, oh, what a rip-off. Well, it's not that it's out there. That's the whole point of it. It's you're doing it, and can those people do it? But you're giving them the money There's no guarantee said, well, if you don't do it, I want my money back. Well, if they did that, there'd be no point having a Kickstarter. Might as well go to a bank and have somebody.
Yeah.
Yep.
That.
Well, guess what? It's time to go back surfing.
Yeah.
Half hour goes fast.
It does.
Anyway, if you're watching the show, we appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you feel like. We just appreciate you watching. If you're not watching, where are you?
Yeah, where'd you go?
Yeah, where'd you go? We're waiting for you again. Have a good weekend, everyone. We will be back next week. Geoff and I will be talking microphones off camera as always. That's what we do. And it's funny. We all like video. We all like cameras. But, man, we love mics. They're different. That's all I can say.
When we're doing a recording, you don't have to look at it either when you're doing that.
No, unless you're doing this. Anyway, well, have a good one, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Tech Down Over. Thanks.
Bye.
And that's a wrap.